apparently I want my enemy to suffer. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leandra the TBR0, and today I'm asking you, you want me to go where? This is a book tag created by Dani Dabbles, in which she encourages us to nerd out about a certain genre and create our own universe from various elements that we like across the books that we've read. She's created 2 editions so far. The first one was fantasy. This second one is sci-fi, which is what I'm doing, hence why I'm wearing my TBR is out of this world sweatshirt, and I am so excited to build my own universe based on these 7 prompts provided to me. For those interested in creating their own fantasy or sci-fi universes, I'll be sure to include Dani's handle below so you can go subscribe to her channel, especially because she's not done yet. She plans on having a horror edition made at some point in October, so be sure to have a lookout for that one. I'm not gonna lie, this was pretty difficult, especially when I started listing all of the sci-fi books I've read and the various elements I like from each one, which ones to pull and which ones to think, better leave that one out, especially because there were a handful of books mentioned by Dani in her own sci-fi version, and I didn't want to repeat anything. Even though I agree with many of her answers, I thought, you know what, let's give the people some variety. So if you want to go watch Dani's, you will not see any book mentioned with her that I mention. So more recommendations for you. Prompt number 1 is, in which universe would you die the quickest? For science fiction, we have so many options, especially because there are a lot of plot devices, elements, tropes, subgenres in which humanity's future just automatically looks bleak. So I had a lot of books I could choose from, but the one I decided was Something New Under the Sun by Alexandra Kleeman. This one is a cli-fi novel, so climate fiction, emphasis on the climate crisis, and I just felt as though even if it might not technically be the quickest book in which I would die, I feel that it is guaranteed that I would die, and that is what's more important. This kind of universe actually terrifies me. I cried at the end of the book. It was just devastating and in a way very realistic. I think that's why I'm choosing it for this one versus when it comes to alien contact, space travel. That just doesn't seem very near to my own future, whereas this one very much is set in a near future where practically everything is as it is right now, except we're just finally reaching the end of our rope and the climate has said enough is enough. I don't want to go too far into the description of what this book is about, or at least the ending events, because I went in blind and I absolutely loved that experience. However, what I can say is it's set in California, so on the West Coast. We follow a writer whose book has been picked up for an adaptation. He really wants to be a part of it in any fashion, so he accepts this really low-level producer title, travels from the East Coast, leaving his family to go to the West Coast to be on set. And he finds himself pretty much just being the chauffeur for the star of the movie, which is Cassidy. The 2 characters realize that they have to start working together in order to survive the strange things that are happening in and around LA. And most importantly, do not drink the water. Oh man, I gotta reread this book. It was great. Prompt number 2 is, in which universe would you most likely survive? And I decided to choose Wonderscape by Jennifer Bell. This is a middle grade sci-fi in which there is time travel, and these 3 main characters end up being sucked into a door led by this strange little West Highland Terrier, and they find themselves far into the future and in the midst of a game. It's called Wonderscape, and it's pretty much like virtual reality, but in real life, and they find themselves interacting with various historical figures, and they need to defeat the game and figure out what's going on to help them return to their original timeline. Pretty much, this just seems super fun. It's not nearly as dangerous as some of the other sci-fi books that I have on my shelves in this list, and I definitely attest that to the fact that this is middle grade, but it was so much fun. It definitely is a breath of fresh air when it comes to the sci-fi genre that is known for being a bit doom and gloom. There's also a second book called Legendarium. If there's a third, Jennifer Bell, I will devour it. Please keep writing, because I just love the adventures that these characters go through, and I just love the idea that there is a middle grade audience engaging with these characters, learning from them, and getting a little bit of important history along the way too. The game is on. Travel with wonder. I mean, come on. That would be such a fun reality to live in, and I do think I would survive. Yeah. Prop number 3 is which universe would have the best vacation spots? Again, with science fiction, this is tough because we tend to be in some depressing circumstances. That's why we lean on slice of life, low stakes sci-fi, I think, when times get tough. And the one I'm choosing for this is space opera. I think this one would probably have some really great vacation spots, mainly because you have a universe in which the entire galaxy, multiple galaxies, are all aware of each other. Space travel is very normal. It's just humans who are very behind on the times. Now, when it comes to space opera, the hitch is that humans may or may not survive their encounter with these aliens when Earth is discovered by the rest of the multi-galactic universe society, government, basically their version of the UN. They end up including Earth into a competition to decide if Earth should continue to exist, be among them, and just enjoy the mixtures of cultures, alien races, knowledge, technology. Or if they lose the competition, then Earth will pretty much be destroyed, taken all of its resources, and spread out across the universe for other aliens to take advantage of, and just all in a day's work. So yes, there's some danger, but I imagine that there are some really great vacation spots across these various planets, learning from these different aliens. And yeah, I feel like if the humans survive, and I'm not going to tell you if they do or not, there would be some really great holiday plans to be had. Prop number 4 is to which universe would you send your worst enemy? Oh my gosh, where do I start? This one was tough because, like we've talked about this entire video, there are a lot of sci-fi universes that really suck, but the one that I just would hate to be in myself, and I feel like it'd be a very bleak existence, is A Planet for Rent by Yoss. This is a translation from a Cuban author. I remember I read it a couple years ago. It's more designed as a collection of short stories following various characters that are all interwoven, and it just kind of culminates into what it's like to live in this futuristic society, and man, is it depressing. Like, I don't remember anyone having a really positive life in this book, and that's why I think I would have to send my worst enemy there. It would be a slow, sad life. I could be kinder and place them somewhere like Jurassic Park, Into the Drowning Deep, somewhere else where they would probably die in 2 seconds, but apparently I want my enemy to suffer. If you need a little bit more information, I'll read the back for you. A Planet for Rent critiques life under Castro by conjuring a possible Earth of the not-so-distant future. Racked by economic and environmental problems, the desperate planet is rescued, for better or worse, by alien colonizers who remake it as a tourist destination. Ruled over by a brutal interstellar bureaucracy, dispossessed humans seek better lives through the few routes available, working for the colonial police, eking out a living as black marketeers, drug dealers, or artists, prostituting themselves to extraterrestrial visitors, or face the cold void of space in rickety illegal ships. As I said, very depressing, but also very thought-provoking. Prompt number 5 is which technology could you master? This was tough because there's a lot that I know for a fact I could not master. So I pretty much chose the simplistic route, and I'm saying that I could master the tech that you see in Tell the Machine Goodnight by Katie Williams. This is a book that I've mentioned actually a couple times now in the last couple months, so very interesting because I swear I haven't thought about this book in quite some time. But the tech that I'm talking about is actually the main focal point that leads all of the characters on their journey. In this near future, we have a technology in which a machine can tell people how to become happy. I think that there's like a DNA sample, blood is exchanged in some form, and the machine ends up printing out a slip of paper with a list of actions that a person can do, and supposedly it'll make their lives better. It can be something as simple as eating a certain type of food, rekindling a relationship with a past friend, family member, or cutting off a family member. Stop talking to that sibling. Do not interact with that parent or guardian. It also could include getting a dog, having a cat, cutting off an arm, you know, the usual things. Or it could involve harming another person. In this world, we have these technicians who are the people in charge of keeping the machines, being responsible for the results that come from these machines. And one of our main characters, Pearl, she is a technician. I feel as though I could be a pretty good technician. I would wonder if I would be tempted to use the machine myself. It's up to anyone's choice. You aren't forced to do it, but I do wonder if I would want to use it and see what my list would be. But I do think that this is simple enough compared to most science fiction that I could handle it. Prompt number 6 is, which technology would you totally mess up? And I am choosing the tech that you find in Appleseed by Matt Bell. There are quite a few examples of tech in here, and there are also 3 different timelines that we follow. I'm going to be talking about the technology that I find in the latest timeline, in the far distant future, in which it's an ice planet. There are no other human beings around. In fact, we only are following one character, and the character is running this vehicle, and on the vehicle there is a certain type of technology that allows for cloning or rebirth through the reuse of organic materials, and I 100% think I would mess that up. I also don't know if I would have the guts to use it. It seems like a very painful, horrific process, especially as far as what our main character has to go through to take advantage of it. What happens is, at the beginning of the book, we see the machine in action. Our main character is injured brutally to the point where he knows he will likely die soon. And he needs to drag himself back to the vehicle and insert himself with a bunch of other materials like trees, other organic matter, into this vessel, into this area. And the machine ends up reusing all of that organic material to remake him so that he has a second chance. So he's a clone of himself. And I just cannot imagine myself doing that, even though obviously the end result would be that you have recreated yourself. So you have broken yourself down in order to remake yourself. Just the entire process freaks me out. And that's pretty much what his entire life is. He is traversing this ice planet to find buried material way deep in the ice to allow himself a future to continue living. And when he can't find enough, that's when he has to sacrifice himself. Yeah, I would not be very good with this kind of technology. And the final prompt is to build your own universe. Danny has provided us with some stipulations, some elements that we definitely have to include in our universe, and that includes our hero, the setting / subgenre, a techie companion, a tech or sci-fi element, and that's just a free-for-all, and finally a villain or conflict, so something that's pushing the story within your created universe. When it comes to my hero, I have chosen Sarah Harding from The Lost World. This is the second book that follows Jurassic Park, and if you have seen the movie, you know Sarah Harding. I think that they did her dirty, to be completely honest, in the movie, because she is a badass when it comes to the Lost World book version. I just loved how it was because of her. She was the hero of the story who was able to at least make sure that some people survived their interaction with this island with dinosaurs. And I think that we need her to be another hero. We need to give her a second chance. Next, for setting / subgenre, the setting is going to be Station Eternity by Mur Lafferty. This is a murder mystery in space, on a space station, and that's also what the subgenre is going to be. It's going to be a genre blend, a sci-fi mystery, because obviously that's my favorite. One of my favorite settings in sci-fi is a space station, so of course that's where I have to have all of the action taking place. And what's awesome about Station Eternity is that there are so many different types of alien races there that the food court is pretty much like your own version of Epcot. And I really want that specific space station to be the setting. For Techie Companion, this one was tough because I have read quite a bit of sci-fi, but I realized there aren't too many tech-related companions. So this one I'm gonna say is a companion enhanced by a certain type of technology, and that would be a cat from Starter Villain. Because there are talking cats in Starter Villain, I won't get too far into it, but they are enhanced by a certain tech in that universe. So yeah, that's what I want. I want a talking cat who's been enhanced by technology to support Sarah Harding on Station Eternity. And what additional tech or sci-fi element would I have? Well, I kind of already mentioned this since it's on Station Eternity. I'm gonna say alien encounters. Like, we're gonna interact with other species, other races from various galaxies on this one station, because I think that's just really fun and allows for a lot of creativity, a lot of strange learning experiences when it comes to language, social etiquette, and abilities. Because, you know, you're assuming aliens are gonna have certain abilities that are either better or just different from humans. Finally, what is the villain or conflict within this universe I've created? Well, this also shouldn't be a surprise. It's gonna be a murder. I absolutely love murder mysteries in space. I am including Station Eternity as my reference, but Mimicking of Known Successes is a Sherlockian reimagining set on Jupiter, so I'm definitely gonna go with those vibes. Maybe Sherlock can be Sarah Harding and we can have Dr. Watson be the cat. I don't know. Or we also have The Spare Man, which is also a murder mystery on a space liner to Mars. So there's a lot of examples that I'm leaning on that obviously just make me want a murder mystery in space. All right, well, we have finally determined where you want me to go in this sci-fi edition of Creating My Own Universe. Thank you so much to Danny for creating these prompts. I had such a good time. And maybe once I'm a bit more familiar with the fantasy genre and I've read more fantasy, I'll go back and do that one. I'm looking forward to your horror edition. I feel as though I can definitely participate in that one as well. And honestly, anyone who's intrigued by this concept, please be sure to answer the prompts yourself, either in the comments, or if you're another creator, another booktuber on this platform, please make your own video, tag Danny, and tag me too if you want me to see your answers. I also want to thank my manor guests, my sleuths, witnesses, suspects, and corpses. You've been lovely guests, and I appreciate your calm and patience as we discover another murder. We ended up having a third corpse join us, and that is Glenda. So thanks so much, Glenda, for just joining in the fun. Even if your stay wasn't very long while you're alive, we have you safe and comfortable in our outdoor freezer. So I hope that those accommodations are okay. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for getting to the end of the video, and I do hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!